Eskimos today at wideout in place of Gary Morris, who apparently injured his knee in the warm-up. So Ron Lancaster just now straightening away lineup changes with the officials. So it's Gary Morris out of this game, Ricky Foggy in. The quarterback will play wideout today, Chris.
Well, Scott, it is interesting because Ron Lancaster, the first question yesterday, who is starting at quarterback? And well, Ron is going to have both quarterbacks, or two of his three quarterbacks, in the starting offense today for the matchup as he confers with the officials and perhaps passing that information on. Bud Steen, the referee, and Lancaster really anxious to get this offense going after a tough week in Hamilton.
He really has. It's been a production where they haven't been able to run the ball. They certainly haven't been able to throw the ball. Very concerned look on Coach Murphy's face also. He's anxious to get this contest underway.
Eskimos will kick off to the Bombers. Edmonton 7-5 this season. Winnipeg 8-4. And we're underway from Commonwealth Stadium on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon in September. Nathaniel Bolton across the 35, and he's out of bounds there.
Sean Fleming, 60-yard payoff.
Here's Matt Dunnigan, who did it all in the first meeting between these two teams. He had 319 yards of passing against the Eskimos. A couple of touchdown passes, scored 3 on the ground in that game, even caught a pass for 28 yards. So Dunnigan looking forward to another trip to Commonwealth Stadium, where it all began for him 11 years ago. And on the first offensive play of the game, Dunnigan will put it in the air, looking for Bolton. And a nice knockdown on the play by the safety, Dan Murphy. A lot of controversy about play selection in Winnipeg last week. Michael Richardson didn't see the ball much against the Toronto Argonauts. We expect him to see it a lot on the natural turf at Commonwealth this afternoon. And the receiving core intact. Bolton has 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, and the offensive line has been demanding that this Winnipeg offense run the ball more. Not that easy to do, though, against a stingy Edmonton defense. 2nd and 10. Blitz is picked up, the throw over the middle, and it's a catch. Gerald Alphen down to the 30-yard line with a great fingertip grab.
Tiny Wilson comes from a halfback blitz off of the short side, but they pick it up. That Winnipeg offense did a great job of picking up, allowed Matt Dunnigan to be able to see everything downfield. Then he throws it up for play. The safety, Murphy, comes in, tries to make a pick play on it, has nothing to do. Alphen does an excellent job of a one-handed jab right there. 43
yards for Alphen, who had just 1 catch last week for 8 yards. First down, Winnipeg. In the flat, the other slot, Wilcox. He's dragged down by Doug Parrish. They'll spot it at the 18, and the Bombers open with a nice drive to start the game. Benny Goods, one of the anchors of this Eskimo defense, along with Woods and Roberts up front. The linebacking core is an outstanding one, led by Willie Pless, the leading tackler in the Canadian Football League. And a secondary that is vastly improved this year. Glenn Rogers Jr. has been a nice addition to the Eskimo secondary, but they're under fire here. Richardson over the middle has the catch. Don Wilson with the tackle for the Eskimos. Spotting the ball at the 12. It's a pickup of close to 6 for Matt Dunnigan and the Bombers.
Without a doubt, that offensive line is doing a great job of protecting Dunnigan. No one from the Edmonton side has been even close to him in the 3 previous passes. They got enough time to throw the ball. Then again, when this offense here, it's very important that they incorporate that run into it.
2nd and 4, Dunnigan looking back near side. It's opened up, and Matt will run down to the 5, diving, and he's not in. Just marked out of bounds, but it'll be a first down, Winnipeg, and they'll spot it at the 1-yard line. David Williams, his wide receiver, supplying a good block, and Cal Murphy likes the way this is starting.
Things that Matt always liked to do. He wants to come out and sprint to the wide side. He takes a look at the receivers, and then he'll come back and take a quick look to the backside. Good coverage in the backside, and then here's the third part of the weapon. Matt's scrambling ability. He demands that you as a defensive team stay disciplined, stay in your lanes when you attack him.
First and goal from the 1. Matt calls his own number, but there's no hole. Great defensive play, and there's Leroy Blue, who filled the hole and pushed Dunnigan back.
A lot of plays down there. You think it's just a given that that defense is going to allow you to get in there and play it a little softly. Matt comes out of there, and he's just going to do the quarterback sneak out behind Black and Walby off the right-hand side. But just a great penetration by Leroy Blue. Gets his hands on Matt, and then the pursuit comes in to clean up.
They call it a loss of a half yard. 2nd and goal from the 1.5 yard, and Chris Johnstone, the former Eskimos, in for score.
Here's Johnstone, 1.5 yard touchdown for the Bombers.
2 former Eskimos combining there. Dunnigan handing off to Johnstone, also a former Edmonton Wildcat.
A little extra intense in there when he spikes the ball and he gets over the goal line, comes in there because he was the one that was included in the big trade that sent him out of the Edmonton Eskimo lineup.
7 years here in Edmonton for Chris Johnstone. Troy Westwood to at the extra point. And it's good. So 3:17 gone, the opening drive of the game. An impressive one for the Bombers. Dunnigan the big play to Gerald Alphen, 43 yards. Then Matt called his own number, got it down to the 1, and Johnstone finishes it off.
An excellent job of coming out there, and what Matt did was mix up the play selection. Not that much, but at a point where he sprint out, he got some time, he bought a little time, he got a safety, Murphy, poaching a bit on the inside, was able to get Alphen behind him, completed that big pass. But then the thing is, when the Edmonton defense does such a great job in the secondary as far as coverage, they have to stay disciplined enough to be able to contain Matt Dunnigan, or else he does that scramble, and that just keeps the drives alive.
Not many teams get such a good start against the Eskimos. In fact, the Edmonton defense has allowed just 23 points in the first quarter this year coming into this game. Tops in the CFL, but Dunnigan had the right plays called to open this game. Lucius Floyd, Gizmo Williams drop deep for Edmonton. And this will be the former Saskatchewan Rough Rider, Lucius Floyd, starting at his 15. Flags flying as Floyd is up to the 35, and Brendan Rogers will play referee. Always a stalwart on specialty teams. And here comes Damon Allen, a man who has been caught in a storm of controversy in the last week after performing so well in upsetting Calgary 2 weeks ago, but he just couldn't get it to happen last week. 4 of 15 for 25 yards against Hamilton. Didn't pick up Bud Steen's call, but it is marching back 15 yards against the Eskimos. And how would you like to watch game films if you're Damon Allen? Because you watch Hamilton and you watch Winnipeg, and in the Winnipeg game earlier this year, he was 2 for 7 for 51 yards. So
that's what Coach Lancaster said yesterday. He says when we asked him about the loss 53-11, he said, does that stick in your mind? And he said, yeah, it did for a while. Then we had a couple other ones that happened after that. He said, I don't have enough room in my mind to remember all of them.
Well, we mentioned Gary Morris shaken up in the warm-up. He is not in, but in this starting alignment so far, they moved J.P. Escuerdo outside, but we do expect to see Ricky Foggy at receiver this game. Allen hands it off to Lucius Floyd, and it's tough sledding up the middle. Paul Randolph among the tacklers for Winnipeg as we set the Edmonton Eskimo offense for you. Lucius Floyd is another weapon that defenders must respect. And now with Escuerdo at wide receiver instead of Gary Morris. And a big addition to that offensive line, Randy Ambrosio. A lot of people thought was gone for the year, but he's back after missing 5 with a knee problem.
You got Ambrosio and Morris playing on the right side, and neither one are playing 100%.
Here's a pass and a completion for a first down to Jay Christensen. Christensen was Damon Allen's favorite target last week against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Let's set the Winnipeg Blue Bomber defense for you. They're one of the standouts. Lloyd Lewis, the former Eskimo, having a great year in Winnipeg, along with Mikawasan, Booker, Alfred Payton, one of the leaders in sacks this year. #1 passing defense in the league. That secondary's done a great job, and 28 interceptions for the Winnipeg defense on the season. Leads the league. Here's Allen doing what he does best, running the football, scampers out of bounds, and has another, or at least close to a first down. They do mark it right at the stick.
Certainly what Edmonton wants to do is they're going to move this pocket. They figure if Damon Allen takes the straight drop back pass, he's just a sitting duck in there when the defense knows where he's going to set up. But if they move the pocket, sprint to the corner, then the pressure comes right now, because this is what he can do. He gets outside of the containment, scrambles, and keeps the drive alive. It puts a lot of pressure on defenses to stay disciplined, stay contained, and force that quarterback up the middle into the pursuit.
Lucius Floyd tries the left side, flag down. Floyd dragged down at the 43 after a pickup close to 5 yards. Stan Mikowas in on the stop, but this one's coming back. Just a further thought on Allen's run. We get the call first from Bud Steen.
Holding number 87.
Jay Christensen. But Cal Murphy wasn't happy with the way Winnipeg contained Tracy Ham last week, and you've got Damon Allen, who is equally dangerous.
But he certainly is, and I think what he wanted to do, that's one of the reasons why Corian Freeman, the outside linebacker, is instilled back into the lineup again to try to utilize some of that speed to be able to get upfield quickly and then be able to have that contained to force a guy like Damon Allen back up into the pursuit.
First and 20, Eskimos, and out of the shotgun, Damon Allen. Rolls right, pressure on, and there is Corian Freeman, loose football, and the Eskimos appear to get back on it, but classic case of what you were talking about right there, Cap.
Certainly is. He does a great job as far as getting up the field quickly. He forces, what he does is that the defensive secondary of Winnipeg does great coverage downfield. Damon wants to throw the ball. Boom, it's covered. Now he's got to pull it down, and there's Corian Freeman, who had slipped off the block of Michael Souls, causes the fumble. Edmonton's very fortunate that they picked the ball back up.
Freeman, a speedy outside linebacker who's been hobbled by a hamstring problem in recent weeks. Makes the big play, and it's 2nd and 27. Allen calls the quarterback draw straight up the middle. Decent yards back up to 35, but it'll be 3rd and about 13 yards to go.
But you have to figure they're just trying to give up a play where they know that I don't really believe they can run the quarterback draw for almost 30 yards to pick up the first down. But what they want to do is try to get that ball out of the end just a bit where he's got a decent kicking yardage for Harper to come in and be able to punt the ball.
Harper in, and Bolton and Boyko drop deep for Winnipeg. 8:45 left, first quarter, and the Bombers with a 7-0 lead. Great kick by Harper. It forces Bolton back to inside his 20. Flag goes down, and so does Bolton. Dan Murphy finishes him off. What a kick. 56 yards by Harper.
Back at Commonwealth Stadium, here is the latest on the Gary Morris, Ricky Foggy switch from quarterback to wideout. The Bombers, I should say, the Eskimos wanted to put Ricky Foggy in at wideout in place of Morris, who injured his leg in the warm-up, and they, in point of fact, told Morris to go into the locker room and get changed into street clothes, and the officials would not let them make the change. First of all, because it was too late, and they also reminded Ron Lancaster that if Foggy played wideout, he could not go back to quarterback. So they had to call on Gary Morris, Chris, to go back in and get changed, come out again. He won't likely play today. They've got a Squardo in the lineup, but Ricky Foggy now will not play at wideout today. I hope that straightens it out.
Morris trying to stretch it out. Here's Dunnigan now, throwing deep, looking for Bolton, and it falls incomplete. You can see Gary Morris maybe trying to get himself ready to play, but if he wasn't ready 15 minutes ago, you wouldn't suspect he'd be ready now.
Well, you've got to think in this game right here, coming off last week, coming into one to play against Winnipeg, a team that embarrassed you 53-11 earlier in the season. If you're not prepared, that you can't go out there 100% and help this team, then you got to take it off the sideline. And he's not the only time that he'll go in there, probably in a sense, because they don't have any other receivers. You know, he may have to fill in there, but then they're playing with 11-man football out there.
Here's Dunnigan, 2nd and 10 in the flat. Wilcox a completion, and he's nailed near a first down. Took a big hit from Don Wilson, but hung on, and let's see where they spot the ball. Very close to the 16, and within a foot either way of first down territory.
Good quick out, but then Doug Parrish comes up and doesn't wrap his arms up around Wilcox and try to be able to force him back. Wilcox able to slide off of that spin, and had not Wilson came over the top to put the shot on him, he may have easily picked up that first down.
Ron Lancaster talking about Don Wilson yesterday is one of the key guys on defense because he does so much. He can hit you like we just saw. He can read pass patterns perhaps better than anybody in the secondary. He's probably the key guy blitzing from that defensive secondary. And it's about 6 inches to go. And they're inside their 20, but Dunnigan plunges. Great surge by that Eskimo defensive front, but Matt only needed 6 inches, and he got it.
Moving the sticks, first down, Bombers.
Likes it, doesn't he? I think so. It's ball.
Good play. Matt comes out. He just puts all the backs in an empty backfield set. They sprint them out. They spread them out across the field. And the Edmonton defense has to respect that, and that just opens up that easy surge by the offensive line. Get off the ball hard. Leroy Blue comes over the top and makes quick contact, but there was only 6 inches that he needed.
Of course, that O-line for Winnipeg averages 6'5", 298 pounds. Short drop, great catch by Wilcox, the one-hander behind him. But a favorite target for Dunnigan this year makes a nice grab.
Len Rogers Jr. made the stop.
Super effort on Wilcox's part. Gerald just came off the line. It's a hot read. Matt steps up, takes one drop, and he throws the ball behind him. Wilcox able to put the left hand back, tap it in front of him, and then have the presence of mind to tuck it away because he knows he's going to get hit by Glenn Rogers Jr.
Gerald's best game was against Edmonton earlier this year. 10 catches, 128 yards. Dunnigan throwing for Williams, and a flag was down. Bumping between Damian Lyons and David Williams. And Lyons will draw the flag.
Sprint to Matt's left, and he's going to hit David Williams and try to hit him anyway on a quick slant, a quick post pattern. Lyons, who is notably and arguably the best cover guy one-on-one in this Edmonton secondary, makes a move for the ball. After the fact, they get shoulders touched, incidental contact, they call it for the flag.
So it's first down Winnipeg, who marched impressively downfield the first possession. Here's Michael Richardson's first carry, and he's out across midfield and a pickup of close to 9 yards. And Michael frustrated after his performance last week in Toronto. Just 6 carries for 29 yards. He needs 44 today to regain the lead in CFL rushing.
Matt has done a good job because the previous series of plays, he's come out and just sprint out, and he's got that defense really thinking, get outside, get containment, you got to get out wide quickly, and then what he does is come back with a little search play back inside to Richardson after he's already created some natural gaps up in front of him, creates good blocking angles for the offensive lineman to get on Edmonton, and all they have to do is just create a little seam and see a little crack of light, and Richardson is very good at hitting that spot.
Almost hit first down yardage too, as Matt Dunnigan utilizes this time to confer with Coach Cal Murphy. I don't think Michael liked my question yesterday when I asked him if he didn't like running in Toronto, because last year in the Grey Cup game, just 8 carries. That was a mystery, and then just 6 carries at Skydome last week. Richardson a little frustrated because he likes to carry the football 15, 20 times a game. Second down, maybe a free one for Dunnigan to put it up. Let's see. Gives it to Chris Johnstone, and he plunges for a first down to the Eskimo 50-yard line.
Easy play, just countered out, quick handoff to Chris Johnstone inside. But what he's trying to set up, and you can see he's got Richardson trailing behind as Dunnigan on that play handed it off. The next time here, he turns around, counters, hands it off, but you can see Richardson and Dunnigan coming out. Look for an option play, and they're setting this thing up for later on.
Very crisp attack for the Bombers so far. First quarter, Dunnigan rolling. Wilcox has the catch. Parrish with the tackle in the flat. And Wilcox is stopped at the 43. And a gain of 6.
I think that's the big key of being sharp in this game. The sense is that these guys, as far as Winnipeg, when they went to Toronto last week, this is the same team that they fielded last week, and they just didn't ride. They didn't show up there mentally. It wasn't that they were lacking, that they had some injuries, and that the people just couldn't play because of being hurt. The fact is they didn't show up mentally to go out there to perform, and this week they have something basically to prove to themselves.
2nd and 4. Richardson up the middle. And he should have the first down at the 37.
Larry Ruckin on the stop, amongst others.
Talked to Matt last week about whether he was gunned up about playing in Toronto. And try to prove a point that the Argos shouldn't let him go. He said, the only place that I return to where I really get fired up is here in Edmonton, because this is where it all started.
But I think this is where he got his first taste of pro ball, and what it's like when you lose that, then you want to come back and make sure there's a little extra in every game that you play here.
Here's Nathaniel Bolton, and he just couldn't reach it. Coverage by Glenn Rogers Jr. on the deep threat for the Bombers, Nathaniel Bolton.
Puts a lot of pressure on these guys in the back end there as far as coverage, because Matt Dunnigan is able to stand in the pocket and have all day long to throw the ball without getting any heat or any pressure on him whatsoever. And these guys in the back end, they're only human. They can only cover for so long, and it's up to those guys up front to make something happen.
3:23 to go, first quarter. Matt Dunnigan, 6 for 9, 88 yards so far. Second and 10, rush on. Richardson tried to one-hand it. Leroy Blue was applying the pressure, and it falls incomplete.
Misdirection a little bit that they sprint out, and they call it it's red going to the right, blue going to the left, where you waggle the backs up. Dunnigan will sprint out behind it, and this time they just release Richardson back across seam, across the green, trying to get that defense to slide all the way across and then dump it back off into Richardson. It was a bad pass. Richardson was wide open.
Troy Westwood has hit 12 in a row, and this one comes from 44 yards out. The left footer is missing wide, and it rolls through for a single point. So the streak is over for Westwood, and the Bombers now lead by 8. Conferring with offensive coach Mike Kelly upstairs. A good start for Dunnigan in this game. Hasn't had a 300-yard passing game since August 21st.
44-yard single before the break.
Has 5 on the year.
Eskimos first and 10, ball on their own 37.
And Dunnigan done a good job of ball control in this first quarter. Gary Morris is in the game now at wide receiver number 5, top of your screen. Dunnigan hands off to Michael Souls. Off right tackle, and Souls up around the 44-yard line. Has a pickup close to 7 yards. Von Booker, the defensive end, made the tackle, and there is Gary Morris.
We'll give him 7
on the limp, but in the lineup.
Booker made the stop for the Bombers. Second and 3 Eskimos.
Good blocking down there. You see Chris Morris and also Randy Ambrosi coming off the line. They've got Mike Dumares pulling, and then all Michael Souls has to do is get in behind that big guard and follow through with the hole.
Lucius Floyd up the middle, and the Bombers close the hole that time. Second and 3, and Edmonton stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
Booker again in on the stop.
And that forces third down. Stan Mikowas, great veteran, and he's matched up today against an old rival, Rod Conop at center. And Glenn Harper called in on third down. His first punt was a beauty. Nathaniel Bolton, Alan Boyko are deep. High kick, not as deep. Boyko has trouble with it inside the 20. Down he goes. Flag down, though. Parrish got a piece of the face mask.
2 flags, Chris. 1 at the line of scrimmage and 1 downfield.
I know playing middle linebacker was tough, but a thankless job punt returning.
The only thing I could say was even more thankless was back in the days when they had no blocking, and then they allowed them to catch it. This is a point where they had 2 penalties on that play. They had an illegal procedure at the line of scrimmage against Edmonton, and then also they get a face masking call against Edmonton, so it moved it up to 10 yards.
We also have face masks in 14 on the 15.
That penalty's applied, and it's first down.
So they take the face mask and the punt and the football at their own 34-yard line. Bombers march the length of the field with their first possession for a major score. Good march into field goal range the second time, but a miss by Westwood. And Matt Dunnigan up 8-0, and almost an interception. That one should have been picked by Don Wilson. Here's Scott.
Well, Chris, the lush surface of Commonwealth Stadium is a welcome sight, and especially to quarterback Matt Dunnigan. He started all 12 games for the Bombers this year. That's worth noting because of the time he missed last year. He has struggled this year with a bruised heel. He's taken cortisone shots in each of his last 6 games to help him get through the contest, but didn't take it today because the surface here at Commonwealth Stadium is a veritable mattress compared to the 7 artificial surfaces in the CFL.
This is his 13th start, eclipses last year's totals, and again, Gerald Alphin's wide open. Alphin with his second big catch of this first quarter. 43 the first time, 37 there. So 86 up to 80 yards receiving already.
Gerald Alphin does an excellent job. He's running the seam route. He's able to get by Glenn Rogers Jr. But the thing that happens right there is Dan Murphy, the safety who was out of your screen, made a break for the ball, slipped, fell down, and he's really hobbling out there. It looks like he may have pulled a hamstring, having a little problem moving in the secondary.
First down, Bombers on the move. Protection for Dunnigan, deep for Bolton. Incomplete. Check that. Alphin again, the intended receiver.
Glenn Rogers Jr. covering.
And Kep, I'm not surprised because Gerald Alphin, a great veteran receiver, and they really haven't utilized him as much in the last 2 or 3 weeks as you'd expect.
You wouldn't think so, but I think they were pretty excited about getting Bolton back. You got David Williams. This is a great receiving corps out there where each one of those guys are better because of the guys that they're playing with.
There's Bolton coming to the near side. 2nd and 10, Dunnigan. This time for Wilcox, he's got it, touchdown! Gerald Wilcox says Matt Dunnigan shreds the Eskimos secondary. 40 yards, Dunnigan to Wilcox.
Matt and company are making this look very, very easy. They're stepping back in the pocket again. He's having all day long to throw the ball. Those guys up front of the offensive line are really taking some pride in doing their work today. Wilcox able to come back. He runs the post corner. He gets away from Ed Berry. He gets away from Don Wilson, the safety, breaks one tackle and gets into the end zone.
Westwood adds the extra point. Final play, first quarter. And it was a dandy for Gerald Wilcox and the Bomber offense. Wilcox with his 5th touchdown of the year. And it's 5th. Gerald Wilcox scoring the 2nd touchdown of the game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And a 15-0 lead. How about Matt Dunnigan's start? 8 for 14, 165 yards.
Matt doing what he does best. There's no problem at all. As I said, he's got plenty of time to throw the ball, and when you get that much time to throw, that allows those receivers to get downfield, run great patterns. Matt is pinpoint passing precision right there, able to throw it and put it right in between 3 Edmonton defenders.
Well, let's see how the Eskimos respond in the 2nd quarter. They change ends, and the Eskimos receive it with Lucius Floyd. Going cross field, gets by Alfred Jackson. Lucius Floyd into open field, and Alan Boyko finally drags him down. Eskimos needed something like that to lift their spirits.
Just a terrific job this time by Lucius Floyd. Edmonton lets a couple of the defenders go down. Like, there's Alfred Jackson right there. Has a good shot at Lucius. Misses, but he showed the kind of strength that Lucius has in his lower body. Then he gets a good field as far as getting up the field. Alan Boyko comes all the way across the field, is able to make that saving tackle, or else it could have been 6.
49 yards for Floyd. Allen play action. He looks deep. Eddie Brown can't catch up with the football.
Jim Allen looking downtown for Eddie Brown.
Let's check the numbers for the first quarter. Damon Allen and the Eskimos didn't have the ball very much. Winnipeg had it for 10 minutes, 36 seconds, and racked up 200 net yards against a very tough Eskimo defense.
Matt Dunnigan was just able to play pitch and catch at will out there, being able to run the ball whenever he had to. But again, he doesn't have to run the ball very much when you can step up there with the kind of confidence that he has in throwing the ball.
Damon Allen and Matt Dunnigan, teammates in Edmonton back in 1985 through 87. Here's Allen rolling out as Jay Christensen, and he was bumped and couldn't hang on. Bob Bobby Evans recovering to make the defensive play for the Bombers. Thought Evans was one of the Bomber defenders who really did have a strong game last week in Toronto.
Certainly did. Winnipeg defense is just coming with an all-out blitz, all up in Damon's face, and the only thing that saves him here is his pure athletic ability as far as quick feet and able to get away from those defenders. The thing that's got to happen, they're going to have to learn about that defense coming, is to read their hot routes. There's got to be something that's got to be dumped off quickly that takes a little bit of that pressure off and that steam off of that Winnipeg defense.
Harper angling this, but he puts it out of bounds way up near the 25-yard line as we join Scott.
Well, Chris, as the Winnipeg offense heads back onto the field, the receivers like Gerald Wilcox, who caught that big touchdown pass a few moments ago, tell me they think the difference in this game so far is the time Matt Dunnigan is getting from his offensive line. Lots of time to set up. It's pretty hard to say a lot or enough about this Winnipeg offensive line, but we are professionals, so let's try. And I think one number says it all for them, 9, and only 9 sacks surrendered in 12 games. Heading into this week, that was a CFL low by 4.
First down for Dunnigan. David Williams has a completion in the flat, and he's up close to the 39-yard line. Well, Scott, they didn't allow a sack last week, but I was surprised at both coaches, Cal Murphy and Ron Lancaster, commented on the sustained pressure the Argos got on Dunnigan. Edmonton's not getting that pressure this afternoon so far.
Certainly not. Toronto had excellent chances last week as far as they got in Matt Dunnigan's face very, very quickly. And every time that he released the ball, he was still getting hit, and the Toronto defense was letting him know that they were in the vicinity. Edmonton doesn't, right now, Matt doesn't even know if that defensive line of Edmonton is on the field.
Here's Michael Richardson bursting up the middle. Dunnigan on the fake bootleg. Errol Martin had jumped offside. I'm sure the Bombers will be happy to concede the penalty. "21-yard pickup for Richardson.
Number 38 on the defense. Penalties decline. It's first down.
21-yard pickup stand.
They'll just at the top of your screen, and then all Matt comes out is just going to sprint out and then hand it back inside to Richardson. At the top of the screen, it was Dale Lyles who had jumped offside, created that penalty.
First down, Bombers marching again. Dunnigan has time. Wilcox with the catch, and he stretches out for another Winnipeg first down. They're operating on all cylinders in this first half.
12 yards on the play. Wilson with a tackle for the Eskimos.
Easy pitch and catch. What they're doing is that this Edmonton defense is allowing those out passes. They're playing really soft. Wilcox and Alpin both are having some success. Wilcox sees his quarterback's in trouble. He comes, he sets, then he slides to the outside. Matt Dunnigan buys some time with his foot speed, able to complete that pass. Sooner or later, they'll get that defense of Edmonton biting up enough on the outs, and then it's going to go downtown for the home run.
That's a pretty good game. And we are just 2.5 minutes into the second quarter for Gerald Wilcox. What did Cal Murphy say yesterday? You don't expect your guys to win them all, but you expect them to show up. It didn't happen last week, but it simply has happened here at Commonwealth. Flag down as Richardson finds a hole across the 20 and down to the 13. Let's wait for the flag.
I think we're going to bring it back with a holding call against Winnipeg.
13-yard line. Penalty marker down.
And Chris, you're exactly right about that game. You're not expected that you have to win every ball game that you go out there.
Holding number 66 on the offense. First down repeated.
But definitely the one thing that is expected of you when you step on the field is to give 100%.
And Cal Murphy's team has answered the bell this afternoon. Miles conferring on the call, not quite in agreement with the officials. Another one of Cal's interesting philosophies. He's laughing on the bench already. Is the team that forgets about the last loss and focuses in on the next game quickest will win. Here's Dunnigan. all kinds of time, but he couldn't find anybody. Great coverage that time by the Eskimo secondary.
Good coverage, good discipline up front as far as keeping some pressure on Matt. Good coverage in the secondary, and then all Matt does is he finds an open spot in the field down that all he can do is dump the ball off, and then he gets to tee it up again.
He had about 10 steamboats there.
Bombers second and 20, ball at the Eskimo 47.
11:34 to go. Second quarter, 15-0 Winnipeg. They've scored on all 3 possessions so far and aren't too far out of scoring range again. Second and 20. Look at the time. In the flat, it gets to Williams, and he'll have a first down. Damian Lyons gambled on the interception that time, and the gamble didn't pay off. And the natives are getting restless at Commonwealth.
Few boos up in the stands because this has been the real mainstay of Edmonton is obviously their defense to keep them in the ball game. Matt has all day long. Pick out, just pick one of the receivers you want to throw to. He throws the ball very pinpointed to Dave Williams out on the out. Not a very good play by Wilson as far as the under guy to cut that off, and then when Damon Lyons comes up to make the tackle, slips off of it and allows Williams to pick up some additional yardage.
Give to Richardson, and not much that time. Eskimos weren't fooled. Tony Woods at the bottom of the pile. Well, Michael Richardson with 3 100-yard games this year. He has the best single-game performance of the season. That a couple of weeks ago against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And he is closing in on regaining top spot in CFL rushing this year.
When we went into the game last week against Toronto, when Winnipeg had rushed the ball for 20 times, they were 5-0 going into that game. They only rushed the ball 6 times in last game. 7 times, I should say.
For Alphen, and Glenn Rogers was in coverage, and the ball just out of Alphen's grasp. It'll be 3rd down, and they'll bring Troy Westwood on. And Miles Gurrell still upset on the field about that holding call 3 plays back. Well, you have to be impressed with what Winnipeg has done because they are playing against a very solid defense that ranks #1 in touchdowns allowed, sacks, and takeaways. I mean, they're doing it against one of the best teams. And Westwood will try from 30 yards. Cameron spots it. And Westwood makes no mistake this time. 9:40 to go, first half. It's now 18-0. Cuthbert, Dan Kepley, Scott, Blue Bomber lead. 9:40 to go, second quarter. Lucius Floyd had a big kickoff return last time he touched the ball. Better coverage this time, Bobby Evans. Well, he slipped away from Evans, but he's finished off by Daryl Sampson.
Penalty marker down.
And there is a flag down. 19-yard return by Floyd.
Should have been an 18-yard return. We'll see the call.
It's funny, Kep, they're down by 18, but it's almost been, the offense hasn't been as bad as the defense for Edmonton so
Major
far.
foul, unnecessary roughness, number 40 on the return team. It's first out.
Probably the only reason that the offense hasn't been that bad is that they haven't had the opportunity to be on the field that long, Chris. The defense has been out there for quite a long time.
Benny Goods with the unnecessary roughness call, and that doesn't help the offense. They'll have to start from back at near their 18. Eskimos have not been an offense this year that has come from behind a lot. Let's see if they can do it here. Allen dumps it off. J.P. Esquerdo. Short gain to the 24.
Allen hits J.P. Esquerdo's sideline.
Pickup of 6.
Gets a little cheer from the crowd. They've been on him quite tough. JP's had a hard time the past 2 or 3 weeks as far as catching footballs. He's able to hold on to one there. And that's the way you got to turn these people around. Sometimes you're going to have a bad day out there. You're going to drop a few passes. You just come back and you keep effort. You got to work through these things, and hopefully you get the opportunity to show people that you're a better football player than they had seen the past couple of weeks.
2nd and 4. Allen has has time, steps up, and Esquerdo couldn't pull that one down.
Allen looking for J.P. Esquerdo over the middle.
Andy
Trying
Guy,
to make the grab. Can't put the squeeze
the
on.
Argos Grey Cup year of 1991. Esquerdo in a starting role here this afternoon with one catch and a drop on that possession.
35 Eskimos, ball 23.
Situation where now what the Winnipeg defense is doing, they're taking away some of the threats. They're taking away the Henry Gizmo Williams. They're taking away the Morrises, who's allowed to only get single coverage because of the hamstring. They're definitely taking Eddie Brown out of this play and forcing Damon Allen to have to go to J.P. Esquerdo or to Christensen.
Harper just got the kick away. Bolton from his 39. Trying to get outside. Finds a seam, Nathaniel Bolton. What a run! Harper, the only man to get him. Stripped the ball back into his hands, and Bolton will score a sensational touchdown. 72 yards. Nathaniel Bolton.
Shades of Hamilton for this coverage team of Edmonton going down. Earl Winfield was able to return 2 against this team. Bolton was extremely patient on this play. They had great coverage coming down. Everybody was in their lines. They covered the whole field. As you see, they keep Bolton moving across the field. He never was able to make any contact or any crease going up. There's guys. He wants to go up there. Not a chance. Now all of a sudden, boom, he sees one crack, makes one guy miss him, and it's gone. It's off to the races. Harper has a chance to get out there. He throws the hand down. He's able to knock the ball out, and when it knocks it out, it comes right back up into Bolton's hands, in for the easy 6 points.
Blue Bomber punt return for a touchdown since September 93 when James Jefferson did it. Thought Harper stripped the ball, but Bolton just dropped it.
Bolton trying to do what he does, but he sees the defender coming over. He's going to change hands of the ball. Does it fairly lackadaisical, but he got very lucky when the ball dropped that. He got the Argo bounce right up into his hands.
Here's Lucius Boyd for the Eskimos. And he finds a seam up to the 40-yard line. We had a glimpse of Urban Bowman on the bench, Captain. Bowman keeps a tape of Gizmo Williams returns that he drills into his punt return men week after week when they have to play the Eskimos. So you know it's got to be sweet for him to get one going the other way.
Well, it certainly is to get that kind of guy out there. Urban's just a terrific fella, too. I mean, just personally, he's great to talk to, but he's really dedicated to this game, and he gives you 200% every day he comes to the office.
They've got the Gizmo tape at the Bomber offices, and now they'll have a Bolton tape. Here's Damon Allen for Christensen, and it sails high. Darrell Sampson in coverage for Winnipeg, and kept the environment is not conducive for this Edmonton offense to get on track. It's a hostile crowd now.
I'd prefer to put the glass in the windows in case they start throwing stuff here, Chris. We could, innocent bystanders have been known to get hurt in this stadium. Rightly so, though. I think Damon has some time to throw the ball out there, and right now, so far from what I've seen, his play selection hasn't been all that good, and obviously the execution of that plays have been even worse.
Midway through the second quarter, it's 2nd and 10. Allen with time. Teddy Brown, and he drops the ball with Evans close by. 2 and out. And it has the makings of a long afternoon.
It really does. Damon gets in there, and it's 2 and out. In this case, they had been known to get that defense on the field for him, and that defense has come out and got 2 and out against the opposition. This case, Matt Dunnigan comes on the field, and he just throws at will, and he runs whenever he wants to, and he keeps that Edmonton defense out there for a long time.
Harper, line drive, and here's Bolton again. Flag down. Del Lyles with the clip on Dan Murphy. And so Bolton not able to repeat the last throws.
Penalty marker down.
Call going against Winnipeg. Let's join Scott.
Chris, another doubleheader weekend coming up for us next weekend. On Saturday night, we'll be in Winnipeg, and if the form the Bombers are showing today continues, the Ticats will meet a finely tuned machine. And then on Sunday afternoon, we'll be at Skydome as the Argonauts host the Ottawa Rough Riders in the second half of their home-and-home series that began last night at Frank Clair Stadium. Of course, Ottawa won that one to go 2-up on Toronto in the fight for the final playoff spot in the East Division. So there will be lots of meaning attached to that game.
Tom Mickey loosening up at the Eskimo bench. So Ron Lancaster may have to go to the bullpen early this afternoon. Matt Dunnigan. Misses Wilcox in the flat with Don Wilson close by. Yep, they played 85 minutes against the Eskimos this year, and they have 78 points already.
Incredible stats as far as it just shows the confidence that offense is playing, and the main thing that Matt Dunnigan is playing with through the course of this whole year. He's healthy, he's playing tremendous confidence, he's calling a great game, and he's got great people around him to play with.
It's been a Winnipeg highlight film so far in this first half. A little shovel pass to Richardson. Cuts back, breaks one tackle. Up to the 32-yard line, close to a first down. Plus some blue in on the stop. And we'll have a measurement as Richardson got close to first down yardage.
Shovel pass back to inside, misdirection play. Again, you get that defense concentrating so much on trying to get outside, get the containment on Matt Dunnigan, and then he's able to shovel it inside to Richardson. Richardson doing a good job, finally getting hit right at the last minute by Leroy Blue.
Oh, hit somebody?
That's considered a completion from Dunnigan to Richardson. That short toss. Michael, a former wing back in college, he can be a extra receiver. They give it to Richardson again. He blasts off the right side. Up to the 35, Larry Ruck makes the tackle, the middle linebacker of the Eskimos.
You may see it at 25-0 now that Winnipeg will come out there and be very contented to try to get Richardson the ball a number of times, get him involved in this game, and that gets that offensive line. Those guys get really pumped up when they are able to explode off that line and get a good drive block on a defensive lineman.
Richardson needs just 2 yards to take over the league lead. There's a pass for David Williams. Incompleted. Barry watching him. And it'll be third down.
Quick post by Williams. Dunnigan had him exactly where he wanted him, but as he released the ball, it sailed high on him. Quick post again. Wilson is running out to the flat to take in the slot back, and then all of a sudden that leaves Williams right wide open on the quick post, and Matt just sailed it high. They'll come back to that pass a little later on.
5 minutes to go, second quarter, and Bob Cameron in for his first punt. Pulled down the high snap. And a nice kick away to Gizmo Williams. And he's nailed immediately. You know, Gizmo would like to answer back after the Bolton punt return for a touchdown, but not this time. The offense not moving. Ron Lancaster has elected to make a quarterbacking change, and Tom Mickey comes in. At times this year, he's been the number 3 man. So it's interesting that they go with Mickey, who just was announced to the crowd, and quite an ovation here.
My only thought would be that possibly he would have to leave Ricky Foggy out, as in case he may need him as a receiver, so therefore they couldn't use him as a quarterback.
And Mickey throws up an interception. Well, he may be the people's choice, but the result's not any better. In fact, worse, as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers come up with their 29th interception of the year. That's number 5 on the season for Darrell Sampson.
On that particular play, he certainly is the choice of the Winnipeg defenders. The pass is thrown way behind Christensen. Sampson is behind him, but the ball hits him right in the hands. The good thing that we were talking about yesterday between quarterback sacks and we were talking about quarterback pressures. With the pressure, the fact is that you get the quarterback and you get up in his face, you force him to throw the ball a little sooner than he wants, you come up with interceptions and turnovers. In a sack, he gets to retain the possession of it.
Gerald Wilcox over 100 yards in the game for the second time this season. Both 100-yard games coming against Edmonton. And it's a first down for the Eskimos. Wilcox, a great first half.
Any type of phase of the game that you hope is if your defensive line is not getting the pressure on the quarterback, is that your back end guys, the secondary and the linebackers are covering extremely well. In this case, they're not getting pressure and they're not covering well for Edmonton.
Dunnigan rolling into the end zone over Alphin's head. Tight coverage by Glenn Rogers.
Dunnigan looking for Gerald Alphin on the play. Incomplete. Glenn Rogers Jr. in on.
Let's join Scotto.
Chris, a moment ago, before he headed onto the field, I had a word with Nat Bolton, who had that magnificent punt return for a touchdown. And I said to him, you know, Nat, a fine receiver like you shouldn't have to play special teams. And he said, hey, are you kidding me? That's how I made the team after I ran one back for a touchdown in preseason in Saskatchewan. He's from a family of 20 in McLean, Mississippi. He said, you think I'm fast on the field? You should have seen me eat dinner when I was a kid.
There's a ball knocked down at the line. I'd like to get Bolton and Benny Goods together. Benny's from a family of 17 kids. I bet they could tell some stories. Doesn't look like Benny missed any meals, though.
I can tell you, Scott was just talking about Bolton having to eat fast. I'd like to put Nat against Scott Oakes and just see how the eating contest would be.
Bombers 3rd and 10, ball just inside the Eskimo 20.
Benny Good has had a real impact season at defensive end for the Eskimos, forcing the field goal situation for the Blue Bombers from 27 yards out after that knockdown.
Getting back to Benny Goods for a second, though, as you said, Chris, Edmonton was extremely excited about him when he came into camp this year. Came into camp about 25 pounds lighter than he had for the previous year, and he's really got some great work ethic.
Timer, please put 5 seconds back on the clock.
They're going to mark it back to 3:08 left in the first half.
In case you're wondering,
the timekeeper at Commonwealth, if he wants to give the Eskimos a chance to regroup at halftime, he ran the clock down 5 seconds. And now we're set for Westwood's attempt.
It's either that or he's an avid Eskimo fan. He just wants to get this over with as quickly as possible.
And Westwood's good. Bombers had the lead after the Mickey interception, 28-0. Afternoon for football, but they're not seeing what they came to see this afternoon. Kep, Ron Lancaster's team has really struggled from the word go. And not much doubt about Cal's team answering the bell for this one. It has been a near perfect performance by the Bombers so far. Lucius Floyd up to the 35-yard line. 2:52 left first half. Here's Scott.
Well, Chris, on the hit parade of CFL injuries in the 90s, I would suggest the burner could be #1. Del Lyles had one a moment ago for
Tom Mickey with his second play from scrimmage. Had a rude awakening or welcome to the game and goes back to Christensen, and it's incomplete. Well, this team would be a lot different if number 22 was in the lineup.
Well, it certainly would. He added so much out there. Not only his threat as far as running the ball, a powerful blocker, but just what he adds to the team and his effort. As I said, when you get guys out there that are playing 200% the way Blake Marshall does, he rises everybody else and brings them up to a different level, and he makes everybody around him play up to that level, and that's exactly what Edmonton needs.
2nd and 10. Here comes Alfred Payton, and they get the completion. Eddie Brown on the flat, but he comes up short. Bobby Evans with the tackle. Let's see where they mark it. It could be close to a first down.
He got a pretty decent mark, Chris. So like I said, I think it'll just come up just a little short, probably about a half a yard.
Bobby Evans made the tackle for the Bombers.
Eddie Brown, one of the players who showed his frustrations last week after the game, critical of the play selection, the balance that this offense has shown this year, and Brown hasn't been able to really be a force in the past 4 or 5 weeks for the Eskimos. They wanted to make him more part of the offense today. On third down, they draw Winnipeg offside. Von Booker jumped, and so they won't need the 3rd and inches play.
Offside. Number 99 on the defense. It's first down.
Mickey comes up, he stutters his count like hut, hut, hut. And then all of a sudden he's getting the guys reacting on his voice as opposed to reacting when the ball is snapped.
Sound like an old quarterback.
I had to listen to Wilkie for a lot of years. That was the only problem.
First down. Quick release. And Esquerdo, or Lucius Floyd, drops the ball in the flat with Greg Battle in the neighborhood.
We talked about the word pressures earlier. You're going to see Greg Battle wearing number 94. He's back returned into the game, and for some reason, whatever it was, either the jersey was stolen or they were just did not pack it. And you can see he doesn't even have his number, so this is a makeshift jersey, but you can guarantee that that's Greg Battle right there.
First time he has not worn 34 in a CFL game. Looks like the same linebacker, though. Mickey skips it to Brown. And again, the Eskimos will have to punt. 2:16 to go.
Two very different extremes right here, where you got an offense of Edmonton that are playing with what I perceive as very little confidence out there. They're not sure what they're capable of doing. On the other side of the ball, that Winnipeg defense is extremely confident about their abilities and their capabilities of getting the job done. With Mickey in there, they know that they can really force him. He's going to line up in a certain area between the tackles, and they can really get after him.
And now Harper, under a little bit of pressure, lets it go off the side of his foot. Stan Mikowas broke through, and Ron Lancaster saying, what else is going to go wrong? What else can go wrong?
This is a case where at some points of time, some phases of the game have been holding together. The offense has been really, really terrible in most cases, but the defense has held them together, and the specialty teams has held them together. Last week, the defense didn't play all that well. The offense played even worse, and the specialty teams were terrible. So they're breaking down in different zones. In this case, what we're seeing today, all three phases of the game haven't even arrived at this ballpark yet.
20-yard punt by Harper, and now Alphen with the catch out of bounds at the Edmonton bench.
Pushed out of bounds by Glenn Rogers Jr.
As Matt Dunnigan continues to fatten up his averages. Matt had just 147 yards passing 2 weeks ago, 230 against the Argos, but he has exceeded those totals in the first half this afternoon. 252 yards on his way to his 6th 300-yard game of the year. Give to Johnstone. Look at the hole for Chris Johnstone. And he has had a big first half. Down to the 43-yard line. Chris Johnstone has his biggest carry of the year, 21 yards.
Chris Johnstone is another one of these real unsung heroes in this Winnipeg attack. Again, you get so much concentrating on Matt Dunnigan, on the Richardson, and then all of a sudden, a guy like Johnstone will get the ball once or twice. You've forgotten about him. He breaks a big one, or he makes a big screen pass and makes something big happen.
Gerald Wilcox again. And he is close to another Winnipeg first down. Yep, I'm racking my brain. We were checking it, but there are no stats for lopsided Eskimo losses at Commonwealth because it's never happened.
Well, not as far as I can remember, and lopsided at some points could have been maybe 15 or 20 points, but I'm not exactly sure of that stat. We'll track it down, though.
First down. Here comes the pressure. Dunnigan over the middle, incomplete. Well, you go back to 1967. I don't know if you call this lopsided, but Winnipeg beat the Eskimos at Clark 20-0. But here we are with a minute and a half to go. First half, 28-0. The Eskimos trailing Matt Dunnigan and the Bombers.
Second and 10 Bombers. Ball is 31 of the Eskimos.
I don't think you lost any games quite like this between 78 and 82.
Not at Commonwealth. Saskatchewan beat us 40-0 in Regina one time.
In the end zone, jump ball. Parrish can't hang on for the interception.
For Gerald Alphen incomplete. Doug Parrish, way high to make the kickoff.
And they'll bring Troy Westwood back. A chance to add to the Winnipeg lead. Well, unlike other Eskimo games this year, the defense usually starts strong, and because they're on the field so long, start to give up points later in a game. But even the defense not been sharp from the opening kickoff today.
That has been a real key for Edmonton is the fact that they knew that the offense had been sputtering and not hitting on all the cylinders out there. But the defense had gone out 2 and out, get them the ball back as quickly as possible and give them more opportunities to try to make something happen.
Westwood misses the 38-yarder. A chance for Gizmo Williams. Fumbles the football. Rogers on it. Bob Cameron made the hit on Williams. And even the punter will have something to talk about on the plane home.
Giz is coming up a little limp, but when we talked to Coach Lancaster yesterday, we talked about Gizmo in a sense. He says, you know, when you talk to Giz and you talk about being a wide receiver, he looks, yeah, kind of okay. And he says, now, when you talk about kickoffs, he goes, yeah, okay. But when you talk to Giz about punt returning, the light just brightens up in his eyes, and he said there's some true excitement in there. There's enthusiasm about when he gets to return punts. And he will say, without a doubt, he is the best at that job.
Here's Michael Souls getting away from one man. And the Eskimos with their biggest offensive play get into Winnipeg territory. Under a minute to go, first half. Let's see if the Eskimos can get some points on the board.
Tom Mickey has had a history of playing within his elements, and since he reads extremely well, he's got a quick release, and he knows that pressure defense is going to get him. He's got to get rid of the ball quickly.
Mickey to J.P. Esquerdo, and he has it out of bounds, first down, or close to a first down at the 45, a gain of 9, and he'll stop the clock with 49 seconds to go.
Mickey made an excellent pass that time, threw it out there on the rope. Alfred Jackson made a real quick move on the ball, barely got his hand on it, but the reception was still made.
Second and a yard. And Mickey follows the right side for the first down.
At 28-0 right now, just for the fact that the Edmonton Eskimos to be able to score something before halftime takes a real positive attitude into that locker room for them if they're able to.
Bombers up quick. Were they drawn? Alfred Payton was pinning his ears back, and it is offside.
Offside, number 56 on the defense. First down repeated.
It is Payton. Bombers were trying to say they were drawn offside. Payton with 13 sacks on the year. He had 4 last week. In fact, after he got through with Ed Austin and the Rough Riders 2 straight weeks, he said he was looking forward to Tracy Ham and Damon Allen. And here he comes. Mickey delivers. Gizmo Williams. Donald Smith drags him down inside the 15. Gizmo started it all with the return of the missed field goal and has a 24-yard catch.
Good job. It looked almost like a busted play where Giz is going to break it to the post. He curls it over, but Mickey does an excellent job of throwing the ball outside and allows Giz to be able to make that reception.
Under a half minute to go. Mickey has time. Throwing to the corner, Christensen. And he's knocked back. They'll spot it around the 4-yard line. 20 seconds to go, and the Eskimos do have a timeout.
The last 4 times, Mickey has stood back in that pocket with some confidence, and the delivery, his head is right up, and he's delivering the ball extremely well, and he's getting a little bit of time by that offensive line up front to be able to complete that and to execute.
Eskimo crowd is getting behind Tom Mickey in the offense. Just inches short. The relay man.
Their biggest obstacle now is not the Winnipeg defense as much as it is that time clock.
20 seconds to go. but a timeout still at their disposal. So it's 2nd and inches. And Mickey gets the first down. Flag is down 2, and that'll stop the clock for them.
Edmonton calls a timeout, but you may get offside against Winnipeg.
You want to save the timeout when there's a flag on the field.
Offside on the defense. First down, half the distance to the goal.
The Eskimos get a first down.
16 seconds left, first half. Eskimos don't have to use the timeout. Clock stops on the penalty. And the offense finally comes to life with an impressive drive.
Big Randy Ambrosi, the right guard, just came off the bench and inserted back in the lineup for this crucial play.
Lloyd, the lone setback now. Mickey calls his own number, and he doesn't get there. Short gain on the quarterback draw with 13 seconds left.
Not a lot of imagination in that play. You know that this Winnipeg defense are going to cancel every gap that they can. No place to go for Mickey.
The line right back up again. Short drop in the end zone. Almost picked off through the hands of Alfred Jackson.
It is so crucial right now. You can see, just as Scott and we talked a little bit about Blake Marshall earlier, this is where they really need a Blake Marshall. All you do is give the big bull the ball and let him power over from the 1 or 2 yard line.
Oh, Alfred Jackson will be thinking about that all night. Third down, 8 seconds to go. And the Eskimos push it through. Bombers jump, touchdown.
No sign yet. There's a flag down. It is offside against Winnipeg, but they haven't signaled the touchdown.
Offside, number 33 on the defense. First down.
Well, apparently he didn't get in, but they'll get another chance. Fourth try now to get it in.
Just the feeling that's going on down with those offensive linemen against defensive linemen, man against man. Who wants it more? Who's going to win this victory on the 1-1 battles in the trenches?
Souls and Floyd in behind Mickey. It'll be Floyd. Touchdown.
It's 6 for Edmonton, but they just don't know how fortunate they are to get that 6. That one pass that was thrown that went through the hands of Alfred Jackson was an easy pick and probably a 110-yard return for 6 points. But that's all hypothetical. That didn't matter. They came back, regrouped, aided by some offside penalties from Winnipeg, and enables them to get that score right before the half.
Lancaster going over that last series. I'm not sure if they're happy or relieved at this moment after a good touchdown march, but they didn't make it easy down by the goal line.
Well, I think in some cases there's no such thing as a bad touchdown. I think they're very happy to get it. Obviously, they needed a little more uplifting and some momentum going into halftime, and hopefully that's something that they can build on for Edmonton, in fact, to come out in the second half.
Started with the field goal, the missed field goal return, and a Gizmo catch. And Sean Fleming. Bad snap, but the spot was good.
28-7. No need for that kind of stuff as far as I'm concerned. Do it when you win the game.
Yeah, he's got some ammunition to rival Gizmo, but the timing not quite perfect.
I think you better save some of that energy and see if he can run against this Winnipeg defense.
Well, it's been an interesting first half. We'll see if that touchdown drive for the Eskimos puts a different spin on the second half of the football game. Fleming kicking it off. And Boyko gives way to Bolton. Up near the 30 on the final play of the first half. It was almost all Winnipeg as they racked up a 28-0 lead. The Eskimos do get a late touchdown, and it should be an interesting second 30 minutes. Let's join Scotto.
Chris, the Bombers went through the motions last week, but they were certainly wide awake for the first half of this one. Of course, it's not wise to sleep in a violent game like football.
Touchdown, 8 catches, 122 yards.
Well, when you look at it, no one's around Matt Dunnigan. He's out all day long to throw the ball, and then he delivers it pinpoint right in.
Dame Allen, a shaky start. His first pass was intercepted, but an impressive last-minute drive to get on the board. Matt Dunnigan headed to perhaps his best game of 93, which has been one of his best seasons in the Canadian Football League. And Gizmo Williams to drop deep. So the Eskimos, who finished the first half with the touchdown, are going to get the ball right away here in the second half. And if they can score early, then you can start thinking about comeback. But
even if they can't score, but if they can come out and have some kind of offensive positive forces happening over there, it could work. Is if they're able to get some first downs, move the ball a little bit, and at least maintain possession of the ball to a point where it keeps the defense off the field for a while.
A little bit of a breeze down on the field, so Westwood has Alfred Payton hold, and booms a kickoff, driving Lucius Floyd back to his 5. Floyd changes direction twice and does find a hole. Bobby Evans finally makes the tackle. Floyd with a good return, 24 yards, but it could have been a lot less. How about net yards? 346 for Winnipeg in one half of football against one of the best defenses in the CFL.
Certainly that they kept the ball, the time of possession. They had it almost for 7 minutes more than Edmonton did, and Matt Dunnigan had plenty of time to throw the ball. And it was just pitch and catch. He could throw at will, and he could throw to any one of their 4 receivers.
Battle made the tackle, and Morris, who was a questionable starter near kickoff time, has a gain of only 1 on the play.
All right, I'm one of them old defensive middle linebackers. The light goes off inside, thinking, okay, what's the matter? This guy wasn't going to be able to start the game because of a hamstring injury, but now the first play they're going to open up is a hitch screen to him where he has to only utilize his speed and try to get out there. Hopefully they were able to make some miraculous cure at halftime for that.
2nd and 9. Time for Mickey over the middle, knocked down. The intended receiver, Eddie Brown, but Bobby Evans, who's had an outstanding season in the secondary of Winnipeg, made the defensive play.
Evans just does a super job right there. There's not much drive. You see, as Eddie Brown comes off the line, he's not doing anything to make Evans have to move. He doesn't turn him in any way, and when he makes his cut, it's a slow, easy turn and round off cut, and that allows Evans to be able to close the gap and come in for the knockdown.
Alan Boyko, the up man at the 40-yard line for Winnipeg. Good coverage by the Eskimo specialty teams.
Glenn Harper with a 40-yard
and on comes Matt Dunnigan. His best game so far this season. 336 yards. Look at the numbers for one half. So Matt on his way perhaps to his first 400-yard gain of 93.
That's very cool about it. He doesn't come out. He's not too boisterous about what he's trying to say. He doesn't brag a lot, but you can guarantee deep down inside he wants to play extremely well against his old team.
Hey, the Bombers like that hitch screen that the Eskimos called incomplete, intended for Nathaniel Bolton. Well, Wilcox was a favorite, but the other inside man had a great first half as well, Gerald Alphin.
Well, this is why these guys are such a good receiving core. You got Bolton on the outside also, because they really have to respect his speed and what he can do. It opens up the paths and the routes for these other 3 receivers.
Here's Wilcox as Dunnigan throws over the middle. Alphin has the catch and a first down at midfield. Gerald Alphin, who went to the New Orleans Saints and became a 3rd down receiving specialist for the Saints for a couple of years, gets a first down here.
This looks like we just backed up the tape and we're starting to run the plays from the first half. Nobody's around Matt Dunnigan. Plenty of time to throw the ball. Alphin has the time to go out. He forces Glenn Rogers Jr. off, turns into on the curl, and this pinpoint pass, and Matt is just on his game today.
Dunnigan looking for David Williams, and Williams makes the catch. Flag down. David Williams will trot in. Lyons and Williams were in a real tussle, and let's see who is going to be charged with the penalty.
David Williams right at the last minute made a little push on Lyons. That's exactly, and they got him for pass interference as he was coming back for the ball.
Offensive forward pass interference, number 2. 10-yard penalty, down repeated.
Lyons is Edmonton's best one-on-one cover, guys. Just had a tremendous season so far. He gets in there step for step. Again, look at no pressure on Matt Dunnigan whatsoever. He step for step in stride, and then at this point, all David Williams does, it must have been with the right elbow or something, give a little shove in the back of Lyons, and then he comes up with the ball. On that replay there, I failed to see the interference.
Just pretty good battle going on, but the Eskimos thankful to get the call. And it's 2nd down over and 20. First down, correction. They go back to Williams against Lyons. Steps out at the Eskimo bench at the 52-yard line.
Pushed out of bounds by Damian Lyons.
Hasn't made a lot of difference with Matt's play selection so far, whether it's 1st and 10 or 1st and 25 or 1st and 20. He comes out there and runs the same plays because they've been having great success in completing these balls. Again, the biggest factor there is that Edmonton Eskimo, as far as defense and pressure on Matt Dunnigan, has been non-existent.
13-yard gain for Williams. 2nd and 7. Quick hitter up in the air, and Murphy has the pick. Dan Murphy, the safety. Still going, and now steps out to the Eskimo defense that had trouble stopping Dunnigan in the first half. It's a key turnover early in the second. Murphy's 4th interception of the year. Late flag just thrown after a discussion in a real pileup. Alfred Payton in the middle of it. Injured Bomber at the bottom of the pile. Glenn Rogers, one of these very soft-spoken.
Not just defensive players that notably get. Take a listen to the call.
After the play, we have major foul, unnecessary roughness, number 46 on Edmonton. We also have rough play disqualification, number 26 on Edmonton. The penalties are applied from the point the ball was intercepted. It's first down.
So, Glenn Rogers Jr. has been ejected, and rough play against Malvin Hunter.
So that they could get Randy Ambrosi and also Bruce Dixon, a backup linebacker. Now you may see in the backup order, Errol Martin may have to go into the secondary. He's a backup outside linebacker who can play defensive back.
Ron Lancaster only dressed 6 defensive backs for this game. One's gone. Michael Souls up the middle, plows his way close to the 25. Corian Freeman makes the tackle.
Talked about Lancaster only dressing 6 defensive backs, but it got to a point, this is one time when he had to dress 7 offensive linemen. He says, I hate doing that. I'd rather dress only 6. But with Chris Morris's injury last year, with Randy Ambrosi's knee injury, he just wasn't sure if these guys were going to be able to play the full 60 minutes.
You saw the rushing stats, a big indication of how badly the Eskimos missed Blake Marshall. Here's the rush. Mickey got it away, and Lucius Boyd in the flat is all wrapped up. Maybe a yard on the gain, but Paul Randolph with nice defensive reaction. And then the rest of the Bombers converged on Floyd.
Gain of 3 yards on the play. 3rd and 2 for the Eskimos, ball is 23.
Lloyd Lewis had some big heat coming from the backside. Nobody blocked him whatsoever. Mickey just had to lob the ball out there. The ball hung up in the air long enough that it allowed those defenders to use their speed and pursue in there. So that play was nullified. There's no gain.
Harper's kick going out of bounds at the Winnipeg bench. It'll be great field possession for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
In August, their most vivid memory of seconds to go. Naturally, he couldn't be expected to drop the ball to make the Eskimos feel better, but the Eskimos thought it was unnecessary, Chris, and Williams was to be kind of a focal point for their revenge today. So far, though, David Williams is having the last laugh.
Williams with a little revenge on his mind as well. Edmonton, one of the fumble after the whistle. Williams had a stop in Edmonton. Things didn't work out. He underwent knee surgery in the offseason, and he says that's been the problem for a few years now, and Williams, big part of this Winnipeg offense.
Well, it'll be really testing for both of these clubs out there to maintain their discipline. There's a lot of anger that's happening out there. There's a lot of animosity between the two of them, Chris. And I can tell you right now, there'll be a few more scuffles and a few more fights before this game is over with.
Chris Johnson. Dwayne Ford comes into the game as the new fullback. 2nd down, Dunnigan. As David Williams working against Damian Lyons. There's Parrish in to help push him out of bounds. And you can tell, as Scott mentioned, there's a little extra after each whistle. And Parrish taking Glenn Rogers Jr.'s
easy, quick out. It just slides out. The ball just flutters off Matt Dunnigan's hand. That's not a typical Matt Dunnigan pass. And still, Damon Lyons is playing so soft on that, he just didn't have enough time to react up, even get his hands on it. David Williams was able to make that reception.
1st down, Dunnigan has a completion. Again, it's Gerald Alphin. Matt really spreading it around here. Alphin and Wilcox getting most of it. He's gone outside to Williams. Hasn't hooked up with Nathaniel Bolton as often as the past couple of weeks, but he's got Bolton in the arsenal as well.
Just to the point, you know, just when you think it's safe to forget about him for a while, the next thing you know, the speed of Bolton makes a defense have to respect it, and that opens up the passing lanes for these other 3 receivers. And when you start concentrating on somebody else, then Bolton will hurt you with the big one.
Second 100-yard game of the season for Alphin as Dunnigan looks deep. And Nathaniel Bolton, there he is at the 5-yard line. Boy, that one hung up for a long time, but Bolton comes down with it, and Matt Dunnigan can do no wrong.
It's really not a good pass, and it's not a very good reception other than the fact that he caught it. But as Bolton comes off the line, he and Berry are just stride for stride. Dunnigan's trying to throw the ball deep to him. Bolton just picks up the ball quicker, gives a little shove to Berry. Berry loses his footing and then comes back to the ball. It doesn't really matter. It's a big gain.
So if it's not a good pass, if it's not a good catch, I guess the coverage wasn't very good.
The coverage was definitely not that good.
1st and goal, Dunnigan. Flag down, Dunnigan. He's down at the 3, but a flag in the backfield, and it's in the neighborhood of Big Chris Walby. That's a big neighborhood.
That's a huge neighborhood right there. When you get Walby and Gorell.
Number 57 on the offense, down repeated.
It's Brett McNeil, though. And Mr. Walby will have a word with me afterwards.
Well, I think you will. And I hope it is with you. And I'm telling you, you're on your own, big guy.
Well, I just figured if Miles Gorell got one, that Walby might get one on the other side.
And you know he goes home and reviews these tapes, so you will be getting a call from him.
Chris, I retract everything. 1st down over as Dunnigan rolling left, and he'll have to keep it. Leroy Blue with the tackle. What did Ron Lancaster say yesterday? We got to hit Dunnigan with a sledgehammer to keep him down.
I don't think it's going to happen. Matt comes out all by himself. He's got plenty of time, looks downfield, all the coverage here. But then here's where Matt goes into that old linebacker kind of attitude. He's going to run over somebody. That's Leroy Blue. The one thing that Matt has been doing, stay smart, Matt. Get down, take the hook slide. Don't try to take on those guys one-on-one, no matter how big and how strong you are.
7:11 to go, third quarter, at the 7-yard line. 2nd and goal, Winnipeg. Dunnigan in the end zone for Williams. Touchdown. Again, it's former Eskimos teaming up for the touchdown as the Bombers add to their lead.
This looks like a poor pass sometimes, but it really is a called play where Williams will come out and try to force and make it look like he's taking Lyons right up to the corner. Matt Dunnigan will intentionally throw the ball behind Williams. Williams knows it's going to come there. He makes the quick cut, falls back in, and makes the reception. This was the pass route that was perfected by Warren Moon and Brian Kelly.
Against his old teammates in Edmonton.
Hey, they better kick him out of the game.
Matt with plenty of time again, as I said, he's looking right out there. It's a good catch. David Williams comes back and really sells himself out. Now you know it's getting pretty tough out there. The shades are coming on. Look, Joe's got the glasses on. It must be kind of bright down there.
Future's so bright, the Bombers wearing shades this afternoon. 6:47 to go, third quarter, and they have a 35-7 lead. Here's Gizmo. You made the point earlier that the magic of Gizmo is more in punt returns than kickoff returns. That one 22 yards back. Here's Scott.
Well, Chris and Dan, the reason Gerald Wilcox is wearing sunglasses on the bench is not to be cool, but rather to protect the effects of a finger in the eye that he got from Glenn Rogers Jr. Officials saw it, and that's why Rogers was ejected from the game. Abject disappointment for Wilcox. He's playing on a team that's second in receiving in the CFL, but doesn't have one of them in the top 20, so they're very balanced. He, though, was in one of those zones where he was getting the ball a lot, and he's bitterly disappointed about not being able to stay in.
And he was having a career day. Pass for Gary Morris falls incomplete.
Pass intended for Gary Morris, incomplete. Alfred Jackson covering.
This looks like a ball club Edmonton does. They go out there and it's kind of like they're afraid of making mistakes. So, you know, when the fear sets in about making mistakes, it certainly takes away from your athletic ability and it takes away from your aggression on the field. You got to go out there, and if you're going to make your mistakes at 100%. You do it wrong, but do it with full speed.
Out of the shotgun on 2nd and 10. Mickey. And it was almost picked off by Donald Smith. He was in a battle with Gizmo Williams. And Mickey almost fired interception number 2 on the afternoon.
It's about 6 or 7 times that I've actually seen players starting to slip and lose their footing out there. Particularly like Murphy, the safety, lost it twice. There's Giz coming to try to plant. The grass looks like it's in great shape out there. Maybe they just have the wrong size cleats on as far as the length of the cleats.
Harper just got it away. Nathaniel Bolton flags down. Bruce Dixon with the tackle, but it looked like no yards. Brendan Rogers put a lot of heat on punter Glenn Harper.
Penalty marker down.
No yards. Number 24 on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Safety Dan Murphy called for no yards. Here's how the scoring unfolded. Chris Johnstone on the first possession of the game with a major score. On the third possession, they came back with a touchdown pass, Dunnigan to Wilcox. 15-0 first quarter. Then the sensational 72-yard punt return by Nathaniel Lightning Bolton. And the Eskimos on the final drive, final minute, first half, get on the board, but Winnipeg comes back here, third quarter. Here's Nathaniel Bolton coming back cross field. One blocks all he needs, and he got it. 40-yard line. Dan Murphy with the tackle. But David Williams with a super block to spring Bolton around the corner.
One of the most unlikely candidates as far as throwing a crushing block. David Williams got in there and just absolutely leveled. Here it is, coming just to the left of your screen right there. Damon Lyons, boom, right up in the chest, hit him right up in the throat. He and Lyons have been going one-on-one at it all day long, so he had a little extra to get in there to spring lightning Bolton.
Here's Dunnigan wrapped up. That hot over the middle wasn't open, and Tony Woods will get the sack. But there is a flag down.
I think they're looking at holding against Winnipeg.
And we will not speculate on who it might be.
Well, let's see if that is actually the call first.
Holding, number 57 on the offense. Penalty is declined at second down.
Not Chris Walby. Brett McNeil called. Native of Nepean. Let's find out. He was trying to pull Woods off. And holding the call. Here's Dunnigan over the middle. And he's got Gerald Alphin again. Wilcox on the bench, but the other Gerald continues to bring in the passes. 28 yards more for Alphin's totals. And he's having his best day of the year.
Straight seam route, the ball's fluttering. It's not a well-thrown ball. Murphy, the safety, tries to make a move on it and slips down right at the last minute. Again, as I mentioned right at the onset of this game, the first or second series of plays when Murphy slipped, and he was hobbling then, and he's even more pronounced in his hobble now in the back end. He must have pulled some type of hamstring or have a knee injury on that place, but he's still out there playing because they don't have anybody.
Dunnigan end zone. Alan Boyko, touchdown! The replacement for Wilcox is into the end zone. And Matt's done it again.
This is polished, is exactly what Matt can do at any time that he wants to. Sprint to the wide side of the field, gets Murphy, the safety, to leave and vacate the safety spot, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the field, it's wide open for the seam. It's one-on-one against Wilson, and Alan Boyko doesn't have any problem whatsoever of making that reception.
Westwood adds the extra point. Boyko, who had the last-second touchdown against Ottawa earlier this year, scores again.
Grey Cup rings and prove the point.
And what's the point of letting the cord stop it? He just let him go with it.
Lucius Floyd picks his way to the 40. I just hope no Eskimo fans jump. They haven't seen many games like this. 42-7. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead. In fact, one of the most lopsided home losses ever for the Eskimos. 48-25, September 18th, 1990. When the Bombers came here and laid a licking on the Eskimos, but this could be one of the worst ever on home turf for Edmonton. Few and far between. Tom Mickey to Gizmo Williams. They'll try to spring Gizmo loose, but they can't do it. Great defense.
Tom Mickey just has a tough time. I don't think he has quite the arm strength to throw the ball out there with enough zip on it the way that he should. The ball fluttered all the way out to Giz, and that allowed Donald Smith to come up, really close on that quick hitch and make a big play for absolutely, I mean, it's almost a loss of 1 yard.
Flag down, 2nd and 10, and Christensen out of bounds at the Winnipeg bench. 9th completion in 17 attempts for Mickey, but there is a flag down. It's interesting, Kemp's second straight game where Christensen has become the Eskimos' primary receiver.
You know, he's not a flashy guy. He's the kind of guy that just goes out there, works hard every day, gets the job done, and then you...
Illegal substitution, number 23, Edmonton. He exited the wrong side of the field. Penalties applied, it's down repeated.
Illegal substitution, and it's all gone wrong this afternoon.
JP may have took a quick look up there and seen what the score was, figured out he wanted to change colors of his game.
So it's 2nd down 21. Take away the Christensen catch. Here comes Alfred Payton, and he gets to the quarterback with some help from Paul Randolph. And the sack dance from Alfred. Well, he said he wanted 6 sacks in the games against Toronto and Edmonton. He's up to number 5.
You get big man on little man in a sense where you get the Alfred Payton rushing from the outside against Lucius Floyd. Anytime they create that kind of scenario, the defense thinks that's an advantage for the defense. It's a one-on-one. Alfred Payton or the outside linebacker should win that as he did in that contest.
Nathaniel Bolton. Trying to get outside. Can't do it. Minute 45 to go, third quarter.
That this is something that this is exciting to do. You want to be a part of it.
Here's that shovel pass again to Richardson. Wide open up the middle. Michael Richardson near midfield. Second time we've seen that shovel pass, and David Black, the right guard, sprung a big hole for Richardson. 23-yard gain.
First time that we saw it, they were going to run it from right to left. This time they go left to right. Matt comes out and he knows he's thought as far as setting up the sprint pass, and he's had great success. But then all Richardson does is turn, dumps it back inside. That Edmonton defense has been spread out all over the field. All he has to do is break the initial point of attack, and he's running right to the safety.
Final minute, third quarter. Dunnigan in the flat. Alford as it go through his hands. Doug Parrish covering Alford.
Doug Parrish on the cover.
Well, Matt Dunnigan has had a field day with those slot backs. Gerald Alford, Gerald Wilcox. Wilcox with the 8 catches, Alford most yards. And the other guys have had a share of the football too. 160 yards for the guys playing outside and in the backfield.
Matt knows that his strength lies in mixing this up and spreading the ball around so that nobody on the defense can concentrate one-on-one against anybody on the offense.
Richardson with a short gain.
Tony Woods with the tackle for the Eskimos.
Larry Ruck and Tony Woods stopped Richardson. It'll be third down. Again, though, Winnipeg not shy about 2nd and 10, handing the ball off to Richardson. David Allen is warming up and looks like he's ready to come in. Saw Jim Sandusky on the Eskimo bench. They expect him back in 2 weeks. Short! Just the second punt from Bob Cameron. Gizmo Williams. And look at the coverage. Boy, they've done a great job. Chris Sangaris, Daryl Sampson converging on Gizmo. And there was nothing there for Gizmo to take advantage of.
You brought mention earlier about Urban Bowman showing the punt returns of Gizmo in a sense of showing it how this is how we can return it. This is what we can learn from. But he also uses it in the same fact. This is your biggest challenge as a coverage team. If you can go down and stop the absolute best in the business and hold them to almost no yards, you've got a chance of accomplishing and winning this football game. As that team did, you take great pride in being a special team guy. And it's an attitude of going out there, and all it is just one-on-one, beating the guy in front of you, finding the ball, and then making the tackle.
David Allen back in. Final play of the third quarter. Play action. Allen steps up, fires deep. Eddie Brown! And it's just a yard beyond his reach. Well, that's a play that they thought they could spring loose in this game, and it just failed to click. I must say, that was the biggest ovation here at Commonwealth today.
Well, there's an older crowd here, and they remember me from there like that.
And they haven't had much to cheer about. Here's David Allen calling his own number up to the 20. And let's check the third quarter numbers. 509 net yards. And Matt Dunnigan with his first 400-yard passing game of 93.
Edmonton last week in Hamilton only had 162 yards net offense, and you come in here now going into the fourth quarter with only 114. It's just impossible to even think that you have a chance to win football games with that kind of production.
Going out of bounds behind the Eskimo bench. 30 seconds into the fourth quarter, and Matt Dunnigan going back in. Up by 35. At this point, you start to wonder how many more series for Matt. They've got Garza, they've got Tom Porras, and Matt's proven that he has been a durable quarterback this year, but at what point are you starting to risk things?
Well, I think there can be, because in this case, that Edmonton and defensively right now, you may not win this football game, but you got to win one of the battles out there, and it may be a chance when you get a shot on Matt Dunnigan. Not a cheap shot, but you just may hit him, and it may be something that causes an injury.
Gerald Wilcox back in the game, as you see the splendid afternoon that Matt Dunnigan has enjoyed.
You talk about some of the other things as far as getting the second, and Tommy Porras and Garza, those guys getting them some playing experience out there. It's a perfect situation to do that, and probably Cal Murphy will do it very shortly.
2nd and 10, blitz, but Dunnigan gets it away and has a completion. Gerald Wilcox back in, has a first down for the Eskimos. I wondered when Matt threw the last pass to Wilcox that he missed if the eye was still giving him problems, but Gerald's back in. Looks like he's okay, and that's good to see.
What?
Gerald times the snap very perfectly, gets a little momentum, and then makes a good push against Wilson, able to force him back, turns in his back pedal, and then he makes the quick curl route. Matt Dunnigan throws the ball with precision.
First down, Dunnigan, flag down, and Matt is picked off by Malvin Hunter. The linebacker out of Wisconsin, back to the 30-yard line, but there is a flag, in fact, 2 on the field.
Initial call would be holding against Winnipeg.
Malvin Hunter with his first CFL interception, and it looks like it'll stand.
Holding, number 57 on the offense. That penalty's declined. It's first down, Edmonton.
Brett McNeil called for the 3rd time today. He's going to talk about Matt Dunnigan's ratio. With the 3 touchdown passes, he has 26 on the year. That just his 12th interception of the season. So 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. A nice ratio for Matt Dunnigan.
Great experience as far as the fact that when he gets into tough situations, he just doesn't throw the balls up for grabs. He either eats it or he scrambles, and he doesn't have to throw his interception.
Eddie Brown with the catch up near the 40. Darrell Sampson and Greg Battle. And it's a gain of close to 10 yards. And if you're tuning in late, they forgot Greg Battle's jersey. That's why 34, one of the outstanding defensive players in the game, is wearing a different number this afternoon.
Misdirection play as far as getting all the flow to go one side, and then just a little under route by Eddie Brown. One of the factors to it, this guy is a good receiver, and somehow, for some reason, they are just not able to get the ball into his hands to see if he can create some excitement, score some points for you.
Brown had 10 touchdowns after 8 games and has not scored in the last 4 games and 3 quarters. Allen sneaks for the first down.
Allen on the keeper.
Flag down.
Penalty marker down.
Damon Allen with 2 300-yard games this year.
Offside,
but
lined up offside number 58 on the defense. It's first down.
Corian Freeman called lining up offside. But Damon has 8 times this year had under 200 yards passing. And unless he really puts things up here in this 4th quarter, it'll be number 9. Sammy Garza warming up at the Winnipeg bench. Lucius Floyd out of the backfield, up to the 50 and nailed by Donald Smith.
Gain about 7 yards on the play. Donald Smith.
Donald's in a bad mood because he thought he should have had an interception a couple series back, and he really nailed Floyd there.
Had he intercepted it, it would be 42-0 right now, because after that play, 2 plays later, Edmonton did score.
Allen calls his own number and has the first down and into Winnipeg territory. Damon came into the game 4th in CFL rushing.
Nothing really fancy about it. Just from the shotgun formation, takes 1 step back, takes a good look, lets the opening take place up in front, picks his hole, and uses great speed. Damon just runs with incredible amount. He's so fluid, and he's got so much speed.
Lucius Floyd, and he made the catch. Great catch by Floyd. Allen just got rid of it before he stepped over the line of scrimmage. Floyd had to make a circus catch.
This is what Damon brings to the ballpark as far as his athletic ability and his scrambling ability. Once he breaks containment out of the pocket, defense has to respect it. He can run that ball. It causes him to be so disciplined to stay behind the line of scrimmage until he actually crosses the line, and then they come up and make the tackle. When they come up quickly like they just did, it allows him to dump the ball off, and he picks up his...
Moved early in the hurry-up Eskimo offense. So they'll push it back 5. And Ron Lancaster just thinking about building something for next week, as the Eskimos will be headed to Northern California and a matchup against Sacramento. First and 15. Gary Morris breaks a tackle down the sidelines, and Morris scores. Touchdown Eskimos. In for the score, his second major of the season.
This time it's fairly natural to have a letdown defensively because you're so far ahead. But the point is, the thing is that they gave enough time to throw the ball, and as he's got plenty of time, Damon Allen has plenty of time to throw it. He's got great speed on the ball, and Morris makes an excellent effort to get into the end zone.
Touchdown for Edmonton, Gary Morris.
Showed no signs of anything being wrong with this hamstring. Does a good job of receiving just an out pattern, very simple. Then shows some good speed as far as breaking the tackle and also getting up the sideline to get it in the end zone for 6.
42-14, Winnipeg leads. Alan Boyko, who has a touchdown. On the return for Winnipeg, Boyko across the 50 all the way to midfield before he's gang tackled.
Alan Boyko.
And that will give Sammy Garza great field position for his entry into the game. 35-yard return for Alan Boyko. Here comes Garza in the 53-11 Winnipeg victory over Edmonton. Back on Friday the 13th of August, Garza and Tom Porras saw action along with Matt Dunnigan. And that's what Garza did against the Eskimos. Little shovel pass again to Richardson. Richardson fumbles the football. Who has it? Looks like Winnipeg back on it. Chris Johnstone comes up with it, and that has been a knock against Richardson. We saw him fumble 3 times in the second half 2 weeks ago against Saskatchewan. 12 fumbles in 11 games a year ago. When I asked Cal Murphy if he addressed the problem with Richardson, he said, no, I really, not much to say.
Yeah, but one thing he did say was he talked to the offense, told him, beware of fumbles. Get ready to get on the ground and get them.
Gerald Alford comes up with a football and a little limp as he caught that one in front of Don Wilson. 7th catch for 86 this afternoon.
Been a big highlight to get him back into this lineup and to get him back into the Winnipeg uniform. He really adds so much. He's got strength, he's got speed, he's got exceptional hands.
Michael Richardson straight up the middle, and he gets 6 when there didn't look like much there. Leroy Blue with the tackle on Richardson, the CFL's leading rusher again with his performance this afternoon. Mike Saunders left the game last night with just 21 yards and an ankle injury. Mike Oliphant, with the week off, actually has a game in hand, but Richardson is back in a familiar position.
Should be around about 50 yards for this game. I think he came in at 640.
There's with lots of time. Now time runs out. And Leroy Blue has a sack of Sammy Garza.
Garza gave a little bit of emotion with the hand, like he wants to throw the out to begin with. It's not there. Now watch the left hand. Go deep. Talking to David Williams. He's trying to get him to turn up the field. But then Leroy Blue's not going to have anything to do with it. Comes good pursuit from the backside. He's able to shut it down. One of the very few highlight points in this game for Edmonton.
7th sack of the year for Blue, and Westwood back in to attempt a 42-yarder. Cameron puts it down. Westwood is good. And it's now 45-14, the Bomber lead.
Baseball on CBC, but they've got a series with Milwaukee before that. So, Chris, by the time you get to Camden Yards to send the dispatches back, Jays may well have done it.
Yes, it looks like it could be tomorrow night at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Here's Gizmo. And Brendan Rogers brings him down. 7 minutes, 35 seconds to go. And the Eskimos now playing really for next week. As you check the football line score this afternoon, 15 points first quarter, 13 second, 14 third quarter. Quite an afternoon for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Bombers with 15 points in the first quarter. The Eskimos had given up just 23 in the first quarter in the first 12 games. Here's Allen out of the pocket. And Damon on athletic ability, but Battle brings him down.
It's not many tougher tackles to try to make on one-on-one of a middle linebacker at that point when the Damon Allen, at this point, goes through, breaks through the line of scrimmage, but then it's one-on-one, and there's Greg Battle really keeping a good, solid balance about himself and getting his head up in front, able to get a harm. You don't try to knock these quarterbacks' heads off. You just try to get them on the ground when they're scrambling.
Allen, and that pass falls incomplete. Looking for Eddie Brown. And it'll be third down. And Kep, you know what you'll be reading all week in Edmonton. It'll be a lot about who should start against Sacramento.
Well, I think it's not a point of who should start, but even the fact of how are you going to correct what you've got, because as much as the focus point goes on Damon Allen or on the starting quarterback, it is collectively the group and the unit that's out there. You're going to win it or lose it as a team.
Good bounce for the Eskimos. Boyko has trouble fielding it and just got it back. Back at Commonwealth Stadium, 30,972 on hand. And they have not witnessed many games quite like this for the home side, as the Eskimos are being thumped 45-14. Their record will fall to 7-6, and they'll be 2 points behind BC and Saskatchewan. Now tied for second after the Green Riders' big win last night at BC Place. Michael Richardson with the carry. And a short pickup.
That Saskatchewan Ball Club is really playing with a lot of pride, a lot of enthusiasm over there.
Well, some discontent Eskimo fans. Well, it looks like they've got the Sacramento colors there.
Yeah, as an old Eskimo, that hurts your heart when you see that in Commonwealth Stadium.
How about that? Over 1,100 yards of offense for Winnipeg against Edmonton this year. And they're up to 98 points against the Eskimos in 2 games. Almost unheard of.
Very good. The Terminator.
There's your friend is going to probably talk to you a little bit after this game, Chris Walby. He may have a few things to say to you.
That was Dwayne Ford out of the University of Western Ontario, who's in at fullback now, but short of the first down.
Now, Chris, I want you to take a look at the arms on that man. They won't even fit around your neck.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, he just make him squeeze a little harder.
Bob Cameron with the beauty. Maybe some room for Gizmo to spring it loose. Flag down. Gizmo finds a seam, but there's a marker on the play.
It's going to come back. I think they're going to call Damian Lyons on the clip for an illegal block.
Gizmo a little slow to get up.
Illegal block on the run back. Number 10 on the return team. It's first out.
When you're getting beat this bad, you want to say all injuries then, they start to hurt a little bit more. It's a little tough for the pride to have to get out on the field. Let's go down to Scott.
Well, Dan, it's been hard to keep track of the Morris story this afternoon, but let's go back about 3 hours ago when he hurt his knee in the pregame warm-up. Eskimos told him to get undressed, then tried to start Ricky Foggy, the quarterback, at wideout. They asked the Bombers for permission to do it, but all this was a moot point because the rules say if a player is listed at quarterback on the roster, he must start at quarterback. So then they told Morris to get dressed, come back out. Because of that rule, it says a player must play quarterback. The Eskimos got a touchdown from Morris later in the game.
Dan Morris has a touchdown in the game for the Eskimos. So a quick healer.
It must be. They got some new medications on that sideline that maybe they didn't have in the old days or something. It's the new wave era here.
Right now, though, Ron Lancaster's looking for what's ailing this Eskimo football team. Allen rolling right. Lloyd Lewis in pursuit. Damon couldn't find anybody. Had to keep it.
As he said yesterday, he was very, very profound in saying, he said, we're going to take what we have and we got to get it going. Meaning that I wouldn't suspect you're going to see, you know, an airlift of new faces and new names and new people coming in, because it would take them a lot longer to learn the system. Then you'd have some legitimate reasons why. People just not being familiar with it.
Yeah, he said, we can play with anybody in this league when we show up, and the proof is the game a couple of weeks ago against Calgary. Nathaniel Bolton back over midfield again, and that's the fourth time that the Bombers have had possession in the Edmonton side of half in this second.
When they beat them 53-11, they said when Winnipeg beat Edmonton in Winnipeg, he said, we're not as bad a team as you would like to think. Well, he's going to have to stretch it a little bit and see, because in this case, it's going to be next week before you can prove that theory not to be true.
Sammy Garza remains at quarterback for the Bombers. Richardson to the 50, 49-yard line. And he has a gain of 4.
Gain of a couple. Wrapped up by Len Johnson.
There is some serious popping going on out there. There's a lot of contact getting hit. And it gets like that when it gets to a point where one team is so far ahead of the other and there's not this animosity between the two teams. You're going to try to hit and stroke somebody out there just as hard. You got to come away feeling that you did something right.
Exactly 3 minutes to go. Second down, Wilcox, and he was nailed as soon as the ball was delivered. Incomplete. It'll be third down when we return. Bombers reinforcing their status as the class of the East in the CFL, and one of the top 2-3 teams in the entire league, as they are about to post victory number 9 on the year. High snap over the head of Bob Cameron, and Cameron will have to eat it back in his own zone at the 36. That's where Edmonton will take over. There is a flag down, however.
Including John Wilson, who may have been hurt on the play.
Offside, number 39 on the defense. It'll be third down repeated.
Yeah, it's been that kind of afternoon.
If you hit them for bad luck, you'd have no luck at all, and that's exactly where it is. Edmonton can't even get a break when it's not even something they created.
Still this, and you know, it's a team that can certainly challenge the Stampeders down the stretch.
The Eskimo 45, third and long yard bomber.
Give to Dwayne Ford. And I'm not sure he got there.
He got a good spot, though, Chris. He really did get a good spot on that. And I think it is going to be a first down.
Yeah, the Eskimos thought they'd stopped him, and now, after looking at the spot, a little more dejection. But it will require a measurement.
He's short.
Well, they are short. And the Eskimos with a turnover on down. We're back at Commonwealth Stadium. A little swing pass to Lucius Floyd. And Floyd up near the 48-yard line. 2:22 to go, fourth quarter.
6-yard gain on the play.
You'd have thought today with the incision back of insertion with Randy Ambrosie back in that offensive line that it would create a little more confidence, a little more stability for Damon Allen in there. But this whole team has played with a lot of...
How do you like this, Kep? That's a free ball, and Greg Battle is going to backpedal into the end zone. Took a hit, but has a score, and Floyd and Battle will discuss things.
I don't think Lucius Floyd knows for a fact that that actually was a free ball. And if in fact it is ruled that, which it should be, that it is a touchdown. He just thought that maybe Greg Battle could have been grandstanding a little bit.
Well, when you're backpedaling into the end zone, you might open yourself up for that.
Even if
a little
so,
frustration for Floyd.
That gives it no right for Floyd to react that way. I mean, you have to vent your frustration somehow.
That was a strange play from the get-go because, well, Alfred Payton's on a mission. And things really going to spill over here. Damon got hit by an Eskimo. Boom, right into Morris.
That's as hard as Damon been hit all season long. Hits the ball, he hits the back of Chris Morris, who's coming in, and then just a little touch at the end. No need for it.
And now the Bombers have scored 52 points. That's 105 points in the 2 games against the Eskimos. 52.
Goal line and gives up a big 6 points.
No, you're right about Floyd. I thought the hit came as he was crossing the goal line, but clearly he was in. And Floyd just vented the frustrations that I think most of the Eskimos are feeling. Ron Lancaster said last week that he let off a little steam. So what do you do after this one?
There's going to be about 2 more minutes of some steam being let off out there on the field, and the main thing right now is you better keep your head up, keep it on a swivel, and keep it buckled.
I'm sure he reached the boiling point a little while ago. Westwood with the wind at his back drives Gizmo to the goal line. Henry back up near the 25, lost his helmet. 1:54 to go.
Special teams of Winnipeg have really rose to the challenge today of having to tackle and try to confine a guy like Henry Gizmo Williams, and they've done a good job except for the 1 missed field goal when he had the good return.
Most of the 30,000 plus making their way out. Allen to Morris, and he can't make the catch.
Allen, who pass intended for a jumping Gary Morris, incomplete. Alfred Jackson in on the cover for the Bombers.
And the Eskimos next week will be in Sacramento, while Winnipeg's at home to entertain the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, I think that they're going to have to take the same kind of cure that Gary Morris took right before that game, so he was able to run on a hamstring, because if they don't, if they go down to Sacramento with this kind of attitude, they'll come back losing 3 in a row.
Here's Allen, pass battle, and David Allen up to midfield and into Winnipeg territory. And an injured Bomber way behind the play. It's Von Booker. 2-yard gain for Allen.
He seems to be running pretty good. I think Coach Murphy's the only concern that he had about him was his conditioning when he came back into the lineup last week.
David Allen, 7 for 81 rushing. And he's in trouble. Atsiano gets him down, and they'll rule intentionally grounding.
Allen brought down to the backfield by Leon Atsiano.
Ron Booker ended up at the Winnipeg bench in a heap.
Well, Booker, when he came off, he thought that Coach Murphy thought he was injured, had to send a replacement in. So when he ran almost 30 yards up to the line of scrimmage, he realized that a substitution had come in for him, and then he ran right to the sideline, about 5 yards from the sideline, absolutely just dove into the middle of the Winnipeg bench.
Allen at 81 yards rushing. Surprising that the Eskimos, who led the league in rushing last year, haven't had a 100-yard game this year. Maybe not surprising with Blake Marshall on the sidelines. Gizmo Williams, and he's wrapped up by Bobby Evans.
Wrestled down by Bobby Evans.
Minute 19 to go.
15 yards to gain on the play.
Winnipeg obviously very content to sit back in a deep zone, make Edmonton throw everything right in front of him, and then just react up and make the tackle. Don't give up the home run ball with only a minute 19 left.
Bombers missed 23 tackles last week against the Argos, according to the coaches. They haven't missed many here. Intended for Morris, that's incomplete.
Intended for Gary Morris, incomplete. Alfred Jackson in on the coverage.
So hard for this offense. At times when Damon has looked really good, the receivers have been either open and they drop the passes, or the receivers are wide open and Damon throws a bad pass, or at some time then the protection breaks down and nothing happens. So they haven't had any one of those phases all working together, except probably the last time when they played extremely well against Calgary here.
Ball turned over on down. Bombers first.
Oh, in the game, the Eskimos 16 of 34 for 184 yards. And they turn it over on down, so Tom Porras comes in for the Bombers, so they get all 3 quarterbacks in the game again. And Matt Pierce with his first carry fumbled the football. The Eskimos say they're back on it. Yep, Leroy Blue, who may have been the best Eskimo on the field in this game.
Handed off to Matt Pierce.
Comes up with the ball, but they're saying it was a dead ball.